Welcome to the Ash, our Ghosts Real podcast. Here we share the stories of our listeners and the paranormal experiences they have encountered. We have all heard the bump in the night and seen the shadow in the corner of the room. Here are the stories from the people who have witnessed it firsthand, so sit back and listen to the stories that Ash and his guests have in store for you.
On today's episode of the Ash, a Ghost Reel podcast, we have a very, very special guest featuring over 100 episodes of Most Haunted and for many years recording the Ghost Tour of Great Britain. He also acquired Derby Jail in 1997 and, in my opinion, the world's best paranormal historian. It is Richard Felix. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for that.
My pleasure. So how are you doing?
I'm great, mate. I'll be quite honest with you. I am. Hate to say it, but I'm enjoying the lockdown.
Yeah.
There's
Keeping
not many
busy.
people can say that. But yeah, well, I mean, you see, I spend probably so often 4 nights a week, sort of, because I'm a bit like Dracula. I work at night.
Yeah.
and so, I'm out ghost walk. Obviously I do Derby ghost walks.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm out 4 nights a week. So I leave home about 6, and I turn up again about 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
After traipsing the streets of Derby for 28 years.
Yeah.
And then Fridays, Saturdays, night vigils and stuff at at Derby Jail. And then I get home about 2:45 in the morning.
Brilliant.
But being at home is wonderful.
I can imagine.
Trust me, after 28 years of this, it's really quite nice. And of course, I've got I've got about 10 books that I need to write, and I'm working on 3 of them all at the same time. While I'm locked down, which is great, and I'm enjoying it.
Good. So, alluding to it with the Derby Jail, how did all that come about? Acquiring it in?
Good question, that one. Well, obviously doing ghost walks. Because I've had the jail, as you quite rightly say, since was it 97 when
97. It was the year I was born. I'm afraid to mention.
Flipping heck, yeah. Well, I obviously doing ghost walks. I knew all about Derby Jail, and I knew the history, because basically when I started doing the ghost walks, the first ghost walk I ever did, I didn't like it. No. I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe it because it was, some of the stories were so stupid.
Yeah.
So I actually stopped for 6 months and thought, if I've got to do this, I've got to believe in what I'm doing, the stories or the accounts I'm telling. Yeah. So I researched big time, and only went for stories that I believed were possible, were credible.
But that's what I found really impressive about you, because for me, I love history, and you made history fun because it wasn't the boring stuff. It was like the gruesome murders, and in today's culture, it's like horrible histories for kids. That's what they love.
It. Yeah, the juicy bits of history.
Exactly.
And that's so true. And I don't know why. We've all got to be good at something. I have an ability to sort of to seek out, pull out the bits that people want to hear. There's no doubt about that. The people, but you can talk about a building all day, but it's not the building; it's the people.
No, exactly. Exactly that.
It's flesh and blood plus bricks and mortar that make it exciting and interesting. And so I obviously didn't have it, and I used to do a Sunday afternoon ghost tour along the River Derwent, and we used to sort of end up on Friday, and I used to take people. It was a nightclub at the time. And they used to open it up for me. I used to give them, I can't remember, 10 quid or something, and then everyone bought a drink when they were in there, and we used to take them in. And there's so many ghost stories to do with it that it was the place I had to take them into. So that's what happened. So that's all I did. And then one day, 1997-ish, I got a phone call from the lady that owned it, asking if I'd like to buy the doors, which are all full of graffiti from the prisoners. They all go back to 1756, and there's gallows on the doors, and there's honestly the inscriptions, the messages on the doors are incredible. And I said, "How do you mean buy the doors?" She said, "Well, I'm going bankrupt, and I'm doing a moonlight to Spain, and I've got a dealer in Birmingham that will buy the doors off me for £100 each." Brilliant. I said, You can't do that. It's a grade 2 listed building, love. She said, well, I'm going to. If you don't buy them, he'll have them. So I got in touch with the local authorities, and the building was sealed off.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, well, now what? What have I done? Now, the unfortunate thing was, it have to say, it was a very seedy nightclub, to say the least. And it would still be open at like sort of 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
The police used to raid it and stuff like that. And the bouncers, that when they'd finished bouncing, for want of a better word, they used to come in very, very late. And they were actually going to take it over and turn it into a strip club.
Wow. So,
and I thought, no way, Jose. No. This is not. This building's got
history.
Too much
it's Derby history.
It's Derby history and actually international history as well. And so I thought, I'm gonna have to take this, aren't I? So I took it over, and then it took me, because it was. How can I put it? It was a mess.
Yeah.
All the doorways had been knocked out. The cells had been knocked one cell into another cell, and so I had it sandblasted everywhere. Got all the plaster off the walls, the paper, and re-bricked it, bricked up the doorways, put the archways back, put the doors back on where they could be, and on the cells, and turned it back in as much as I could.
Yeah.
To what Derby Jail would have looked, or that little bit of Derby Jail would have looked like in 1756.
Brilliant.
And it's famous.
Well, it is very famous.
Honestly, I mean it. It really is. And I must be honest, Most Haunted helped a lot.
Yeah.
An awful lot. Because at the end of the day, it was featured twice, of course.
Yeah.
On series 1, which is where I started on Most Haunted. And then we did the Derby, the live in Derby.
Yeah.
And we did Derby Jail again, and it's been on. It's been featured on so many TV programs. Ghost Detectives, Great British Ghosts, Scariest Places on Earth, Fox TV. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. And it's a famous venue now. It's the must-do place for people
in Derby
to come and do night vigils and that sort of stuff.
Definitely.
So it's worked. And you see, the fascinating thing is that all of this ghost business with me took, because the reason I got into the ghost business was because I was chairman of Derby Tourism.
Oh, right, okay.
Would you go tourism? People, Derby must be mad. Who wants to come to Derby? Is what people said.
Yeah.
And I opened a heritage centre in Derby, in the old Tudor Grammar School that went back to 1554. And there was a ghost upstairs, the ghost of a little boy.
Yeah.
Because it was the dormitories for the school, you see. And I thought, that's an interesting one. I'm chairman of Derby Tourism. What can I do to bring people into Derby? Well, York do ghost walks.
Yeah.
Edinburgh do ghost walks. Chester does ghost walks. So I thought, we'll try a ghost walk. Yeah. And that's actually where it started.
Brilliant.
And that's right where I didn't like the first one. So as I say, I shelved it for 6 months, and it's just gone bonk. I've had Derby declared the most haunted city in Great Britain.
I know. Well, this is the thing as well. It's like, I've been listening to your podcast, obviously. I'm going to allude back to it, but we are quite proud of where we're from. We're both from Derbyshire and surrounding areas.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
So,
Land of the Ram.
Exactly. So I first met Richard when I was about 9 or 10 years old, at the height of Most Haunted, at a fun fair. Got his autograph, and I think, like I alluded to earlier, like, you made history fun, and I think that's what got people interested in it, and especially in like Most Haunted, because people you associate a building and people just go there for a day trip, but it's the history behind the building that makes it so important. And from there, I'd like to get into like the way you started, because obviously you've alluded to doing the tourism of Derby, but for 27 years you was a record dealer in Derby.
I was, Derby Market Hall. 27 years as a record dealer from 1968, 67, 68. Selling records. We sold more pop singles to people of Derby and Derbyshire than anybody else. But I was always interested in history. But it was military history. That's my passion still.
Yeah.
Well, no, my passion is Derby, obviously, and its its history and ghosts. But my light hobby, whatever you want to call it, is military history.
Yeah.
And so I was always into history.
Yeah.
And then I realised that if you're going around doing a ghost walk, and remember my ghost walk's 3 hours.
Yeah.
A couple of haunted pubs on the way around.
Yeah.
And then a candlelit supper at the end of it. You know, they're out for really 3.5 hours. It's a night out.
Yeah.
You can't just tell ghost stories. You can't. Oh, there's a ghost in there. Oh, yeah. There's a grey lady in that there. In that building. There's a poltergeist that throws things around in that. No, you've got to tie it in with the history of the building.
Definitely.
And that's where I think the whole damn ghost thing becomes a more fascinating, but B more credible.
Yeah, and it brings the story alive.
It brings the story alive. It does. So it's for me when I'm talking about a ghost, or as a grey lady. Okay, the old dog in Derby in Queen Street, where I start the ghost walk from. There, there's a grey lady upstairs. Yeah, okay. Well, that's not enough for me. I want to know, who is she?
Yeah.
What happened to her that's caused her still to be there? Yeah. Why is she grey? Why ain't she blue, pink, yellow, green, or flesh colour like a normal person?
Yeah.
And the big one that so many people very seldom think about is, what can we do for her?
Yeah.
Hey?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What can we do? It's a ghost in it. Yeah, but it wasn't once. It was you and me once.
There's that compassionate side of things.
Yeah,
I think that's why people love ghost hunting.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why people love ghost hunting.
Respect.
Yeah. Definitely.
And that means so much in the business. You have to treat them as a human being.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because they once were. B, a lot of them still think they are.
Yeah.
And so, you start the nonsense that some ghost hunters in the past have done, like cajoling them, swearing at them, and
just so distasteful.
It doesn't work.
No,
just does not. It might work. It might work on telly because somebody, you say, "Come on, you whatever," and you swear at them, and then a stone flies across. Well, we know full well that the ghost hasn't thrown it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So respect is a big word in the ghost business.
So, alluding back to ghosts, your first experience with a ghost, I know you joined the Territorial Army in the early 70s, and I'd like you to explain your first experience with a ghost, if you could.
It's incredible. Yeah. Oh, you see, the big one is I'm frightened of ghosts.
Yeah, I know.
And I've always been frightened. Always been frightened of ghosts from a kid. I mean frightened. But so luckily, nothing actually happened to me.
Yeah.
Until I was 27, which is a good job. I suppose it's a good job. And I was, you see, all I ever wanted to be was a soldier.
Yeah.
That was my life. That's and unfortunately, it didn't happen because I got terminal cancer at the age of 18, and the regular army wouldn't have me. Didn't want me because they'd have to give me a pension one day. And so I said, well, I'll go and join the TA then. They said, no, you can't do that. You can't go in the TA because the same thing will happen. If there's a war, then you'll be called up, and if you get ill, we'll have to give you a pension. So I said, oh dear, that's not very good. So anyway, I went away, waited about a year and a half, and then applied to join the TA. And all you had to do then, of course, was go and see the local doctor in Nottingham. It wasn't it wasn't quite the same as the medical for the regular army. Yeah. So I was in a TA, and I was an officer cadet at the time, and I was on an exercise called Exercise Inside Right. It was a big national exercise, army exercise, televised. It was really big do it was, and we were in Bestwood Lodge in Nottingham, in Arnold, in Nottingham.
Know it well.
It's a hotel now, but then it was the headquarters of Eastern District Army, and it got a history. So it went right back to, I think, the 12th century, and King John stayed there, and blah blah blah. It got a good
rich history.
We weren't there for that. We were there because we were to take up positions in Bestwood Lodge, and then we were attacked by a regiment called the Queen's Regiment. And me being always wanted to be a soldier, and although this was only, hate to say pretend, training, crack. You know what I mean? I've never been so excited in all my life.
Yeah.
I was radio operator at the time, and thunder flashes were going off, and people with machine guns, and I mean, I was in my element.
Yeah.
I was absolutely on cloud 9, and we beat them off. We won, and it was about 1:30 in the morning, and that was it. We were tired, obviously.
Yeah.
I was extremely excited. This is all part of it, by the way, all part of
the adrenaline's running through your veins.
Yes, yeah. And we went back into this room, which was, it was an extension. It looked like a classroom.
Yeah.
It looked sort of like 1930s style, something like that.
Yeah.
Big, very big classroom with huge picture windows in it. And there was 37 of us, 37 soldiers, all climb back in your sleeping bag. And I was up against the wall, and there was a kitchen at the back. And I was the last one back in with the officer that was there at the time. And so everyone else got their heads down, and they were all asleep straight away, which is what most soldiers do. Anyway, you can, as soon as you can get to sleep, you do, sort of thing. Yeah. And I got back down in my sleeping bag, right? And then all of a sudden there was a noise at the back of me. And I thought, bloody hell, we're going to be attacked. Someone's coming in. And I went to grab my rifle. And I sat up. And nobody had stirred. Everyone was still sleeping. And then all of a sudden, at the back of me, there was this voice of a young lad, about 17 or 18, something like that, calling for a nurse. And again, everybody, most people, when something strange happens, paranormal happens, you go into normal. You've got to, well, hang on, must be the bloke next to me snoring.
Yeah.
Because I'll be very honest with you, Ash. It does sound a bit like
yeah.
A bit.
But you're into that rational thinking, don't you?
Yeah, I did straight away, looking at him, and he wasn't snoring.
No.
And then it's at the back of me, and I've got my head against the wall, more or less.
Yeah.
And he's calling for a nurse, and he's crying.
Yeah.
And he's dying, basically. And it went on for a bit, and the only thing I couldn't do was call for a nurse.
No.
Because there wasn't one. Because yes, he wanted one, but I couldn't, because there were no nurses. You see, this is what I'm thinking. And I got tears running down my eye. Listening, I was wide awake. I wasn't asleep. There was none of that. I wasn't dreaming and all that sort of stuff. And eventually, it stopped.
Wow.
And I just got back down in my sleeping bag. I went to sleep, as you do.
I was about to say, I don't know how.
Well, and I did, because here's the bit. It wasn't frightening.
No.
It was real.
Yeah.
The only thing he wasn't there. Well, hang on, I say he was. No, he wasn't. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
No. So he wasn't there. Anyway, the next morning, I didn't tell anybody.
No.
Of course I didn't. I mean, they'd have laughed me out of the place. 37 hairy-ass soldiers. Sorry. Oh, sir, I heard a ghost last night. Yeah, of course he did. Yeah. And that was, so anyway, didn't tell anybody. But the fascinating bit of this story is that we were then, that was it. It was the end of the exercise. We'd done 3 days of exercise, and then we were off to camp for a fortnight in a place called Sennybridge in South Wales. And being an officer cadet, you got every dirty job there was. One minute you're in there peeling potatoes, literally. Next minute you're on guard. You're actually officer in charge of the guard. Next minute, and then anyway, I was detailed to drive the minibus down to Sennybridge in Wales, and I was driving the minibus, and there was 2 people with me. There was a lad called Charlie Zammit, who was a Maltese lad, soldier, and a young lady who was Women's Royal Army Corps. And there was 3 of us in the car, and a load of kit we got in the back of the minibus. We were chatting away. That was all. And she said, "Well, where were you guys last night?" What? I said, "Oh God, last night tremendous. We had a battle at Bestwood Lodge with the Queen's Regiment." Oh, she says, "Best." I mean, I couldn't make this up if I tried. She said, "Oh, Bestwood Lodge." I said, "Yeah, Bestwood Lodge." She says, "That's haunted, you know." Now, listen, we hadn't been talking about ghosts. She didn't know me. I wasn't into ghosts.
Yeah.
Not then. I was a record dealer and an officer cadet in the 3rd Battalion of the Worcestershire and Foresters Regiment. Ghosts didn't come into it. She said, "Oh, that's haunted, isn't it?" I said, Eh? Yeah. Well, yes, but how do you know? What? And so anyway, she said, "Oh, it was in the Nottingham Evening Post last week. There was a big article in the Nottingham Evening Post." I said, "Really?" I said, "I didn't know about that. Well, I'm not in. Don't live in Nottingham." And I said, "Don't say any more." And Charlie Zammit sat next to me, wondering what on earth's going on. I said, "Charlie, I want you to bear witness to this before she says another word." He said, "What are you on about?" I said, just bear witness, mate." He said, "Right, okay." So I turned slightly to her and I said, "It was a hospital during the war, wasn't it?" "Oh," she says, "yes, that's part of the article. It was requisitioned by the army in 1942 as a hospital." And I said, "Yeah, I know that." What do you mean?" I said, "I know. I heard someone that was in that hospital that was dying."
Wow.
Now, here's the ridiculous bit. That was in 19, Christ almighty, I don't know, 70, 76, 77, something like that, 78. I have never, ever bothered to get that article, which I could now say, and here is it. I've never done it. I've never even bothered to get that article. But from then on, from the 40s when it was taken over, it had been it remained in the hands of the army when I was there in 77, 78, something like that. It's now, the army, they sold it off. And the fascinating thing is I actually went back, because when I did the video Ghosts of Nottinghamshire, I said, I have to go to Bestwood Lodge. And I went to Bestwood Lodge. It was a hotel, and most people receive you it's amazing, you know. The hotel manager says, "Yes, fine, we've got ghosts in here, mate. I'll take you to the haunted bedroom, and I'll tell you here, let us film." But then I said, "Well, I actually had an experience," and he let me go into the room, which was exactly the same as when I'd been there, exactly the same. And of course, nothing happened that time. Of course, it didn't. And the reason I'm telling you now why I know why it happened is basically, you probably know I'm big in this business of something like 60% of ghosts are recordings. Held in the fact, it's called the stone tape thing. Well, I call it the stone tape thing. And I'm pretty sure there was a brick wall behind me, and bricks contain silica, which is recording it, and it's a semiconductor. And the redder the bricks, the more iron oxide there is, which is rust, which is magnetic. And so bricks have the same the same properties as a cassette tape, or a mini DV tape. It's a similar thing, because it's silica tape, and you sprinkle iron oxide particles on it, which is rust, which is magnetic, and you can record on it. And I believe that his death, his traumatic, very painful death, the energy he expelled on dying, resisting death, is known as a death flash, which is the energy that causes a recording to be held in the fabric of the building, sight and sound. And I believe that I was on the right frequency at 1:30 that morning after what had happened to me. And one thing I've never done yet, and I should have been doing this for years, I should be, when people have seen or heard a ghost, we should be trying to find out what sort of frame of mind they were in when they saw it or heard it.
Definitely.
In other words, it's a bit like in the olden days, with transistor radios and things like that. You may have been listening to Radio Luxembourg, and all of a sudden, Radio 1 would break in for about 3 or 4 seconds. Frequencies. And it's the same thing with what's going on up here in our brain.
Exactly that.
Frequencies change, and I believe we change the frequency if we've had a big argument with someone.
Whatever mood we're in.
If Derby County has beaten Nottingham Forest 5-0,
which could happen this weekend,
or whatever, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. Then you're jumping up and down with joy. You're so elated that something happens up here in this receiver, recorder, transmitter, video player, satellite navigation system, computer, memories, Christ, everything under the sun up here. And a frequency changes, and we hear it for a few seconds, or we see it. I don't think sense, smell, and feeling come into the recording side of it.
No.
I smelt a ghost, grandma's perfume or something like that.
Yeah.
I was touched by that. I don't think that's part of a recording.
No.
But sound and sight, I think, an awful lot of what people see or hear is a recording held in the fabric of the building.
Definitely.
I'm sure of it. And I'm working hard to prove it, but it ain't easy, mate. I'm telling you.
So, obviously, as well as Bestwood Lodge, you've
Yes.
got a lot. Well, I think your stories around Derbyshire, and in particular, probably my personal favourite story in regards to Elveston Castle and the dogs.
Oh, I love it.
Would you be able to share that with us as well?
I love Elvis. Well, there's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes right back to Viking times.
Yeah.
There's been habitation on that side since the Vikings actually took it over, put a settlement there. And I think the best story has got to be a lady called Kathleen Emily, who was the wife of one of the Earls of Harrington. And I am led to believe, again, trying to get the history right, that she was doing a bit of a Lady Chatterley job and knocking off the head gardener or something like that. And she died. She certainly wasn't murdered or anything like that. But it's so strange because when you go to Elveston, there's the graveyard there, obviously. And she's actually, and by the way, there's also a mausoleum for the Earls of Harrington, their wives and their children, which is like a big. You've probably seen it.
I've been to Elveston many a time with the family. Yeah,
well, that mausoleum, which is through a special gate, actually houses them. They're actually not buried; they're actually on shelves. Inside that mausoleum, on sort of metal shelves inside. But his wife, Kathleen Emily, is actually outside the graveyard in unconsecrated part of the ground. Her grave is the wrong way round because everybody's forgive me, I can't remember, north, south, east, no, east, west, I think, but she's the wrong way round, which is bizarre to say the least. I still don't really know why, unless he just said, right, that's it, she ain't coming in with me in here, because she was knocking off the gardeners. She shove her outside the graveyard, and she ain't happy about it because she's in unconsecrated ground. And of course, people, they all crave. We all used to crave. We still do to a decent burial and being laid to rest, and closure. A 6 foot of English earth, a gravestone with your name on it, but you need to be in consecrated ground, and you need to be the right way round. You know, and I believe it's her ghost that is seen wandering around the graveyard. Frequently stopping, stooping, looking at graves, and then standing straight up and carrying on. She's seen walking from the graveyard back to Elveston Castle, which is it's literally 50 yards, isn't it, or something like that.
That's not far at all.
And she's been seen sitting in a rocking chair inside the Elizabethan part, because there's a little part on the right at the end. There's a very, very, very old-looking bit. That's Elizabethan.
Oh, right.
And she's been seen by people inside when you used to be able to go inside.
Not allowed
but
anymore.
I know that. But she's also been seen by people looking through that window.
Wow.
Sitting in a rocking chair. A white lady. And I don't know. It might not be her.
No.
But it could be. And again, that ties in my opinion, with someone who is not at rest for whatever reason, because she's not happy.
No.
She's not happy at where she is. It's an incredible thing, but I cannot understand why anybody would put someone outside the graveyard, because there's a hedge separating her from the graveyard. It's quite amazing. All alone, buried alone outside. Poor girl. So, but there's lots of stuff to do. There's the Happy Huntsman.
That's the one. That's the one.
And the Happy Huntsman's tree. I can't remember. Was it the seventh? The seventh Earl. I think his name was. He was very popular, and he was always called Old Whiskers. He had huge whiskers, and he was hunting mad, absolutely hunting mad. And he was killed in a riding accident. Oh dear. I can't remember near Little Eaton. And killed in an accident. But he left in his will that even though he was obviously dead, his hounds must go out and hunt on the Boxing Day. After his death, and they stuck to the woods because that was part of his will.
Yeah.
So they brought the hounds out as they do, and they went flying off, and they went all the way right to the very end to where the Golden Gates are.
Yeah.
And checked, as it's called, stopped. But there was no fox there.
No.
But they just stopped, and they all turned round as if they'd seen a fox, and came thundering back all the way back to the graveyard.
Yeah.
Where Old Whiskers is buried, or should I say, the mausoleum where he's buried. And there's a big oak tree that's right by the mausoleum where he's buried.
Yeah.
And the hounds just kept circling round and round and round that oak tree. And of course, everyone thought there was a fox there.
Yeah.
The huntsman looking for a fox up the tree. Foxes can't climb trees, but they were, is there a hole in the tree? No, there's not. Is the as it go? Can this fox climb? No, it can't.
Yeah.
There was no fox there.
No.
It was quite amazing. And excuse me, they couldn't get them away from it.
No.
They couldn't get them to carry on doing the hunt.
Yeah.
So in desperation, they brought them all back and put them back in the kennels, and that was the end of it.
Well.
And they reckon that it was his ghost.
It's got to be.
That called them back.
Yeah.
And there's a plaque right next to the tree. And the tree is called the Happy Huntsman's Tree.
Yeah.
And the story is actually on the plaque. It's so again.
Yeah.
The fascinating thing is that there's history with it.
Yeah.
It's not just hearsay.
No.
It's fact.
True. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And why else would his? Because dogs are
loyal.
I always say the only real ghost detector is you and your dog.
Yeah.
And dogs sense things that for example, I've got a Labrador who's 14 years of age. He's blind and he's deaf. Right now, I can I can walk into the kitchen, make a cup of tea in the morning. He'll be on his bed, and he'll be fast asleep, and he doesn't hear me. He doesn't see me. Right. Yeah. A lot of the time, he sleeps in the TV room, which is down the hallway. Even farther away, but while I'm making that cup of tea every morning, if he's down there, he gets up and comes into the kitchen. He knows I'm there.
Yeah.
He can't see me and he can't hear me.
No.
And I don't smell that bad, so it's not. But you know what I mean? But they sense you.
Yeah.
There's something very special. Dogs, cats, and horses are the ones that are sensitive to ghosts.
Yeah. And
you see ghosts of dogs, cats, and horses.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I was about to say all those animals are tied to history. I think. Yeah. Especially with horses, especially.
You've hit it. You've hit it on the head. But they are the three animals that have cohabited with us.
Yeah, over many years.
20,000 years.
Yeah, exactly.
We've always kept dogs, cat, and we've always ridden horses, and they are part of us.
Yeah.
You never hear of a haunted abattoir.
No.
Isn't that strange?
It is.
Or a ghostly badger that someone's seen walk through the wall of it. You know what I mean? It only seems to be dogs, cats, and horses.
Yeah, it's so fascinating.
Oh, the whole thing is more than fascinating.
It is.
People are absolutely, and of course, most haunted, God bless them, have created that interest.
Yeah, definitely. And so what I wanted to go from really is that obviously from the Territorial Army, obviously working in the marketplace in Derby, how did you become that interested in ghosts that you wanted to start hunting for them and searching for them?
Well, it was literally the fact that York do ghost walks. How do we bring people into Derby? Why don't I start a ghost walk?
Yeah.
And I suppose, I don't know, so I had to believe in it.
Yeah. And
so I researched a lot.
Yeah.
I got in with a lad, you may have heard of, a lad called Wayne Anthony. He's Derby's psychic medium.
Oh, yeah.
He's Irish descent, seventh son of a seventh son, all the right pedigrees, if you know what I mean. And if there is such a thing as a genuine medium, then he is.
Right.
One. And I got to know him, and I learnt an awful lot from him.
Yeah.
A lot of the ghost stories, a lot of the facts behind ghosts. In fact, he and I wrote the first book, Ghosts of Derby.
Yeah.
In 1995, which actually outsold Delia Smith's Christmas cookbook in Derby.
Yeah, Derby.
Yeah, and I learned a phenomenal amount from him, and I suppose it's just taken me over.
Yeah,
because I've really, when I listen to a lot of stuff on telly, and I see some people how they go about their ghost hunting and what have you, it just makes me even more want to try and prove what the reality behind it is, rather than the Scooby-Doo stuff. I mean, so many paranormal companies have to have the word fright in them, or terror, or and demons, and that's not what it's about.
No, that's what I was just going to. That's what I was going to add. Say is that when you do a ghost hunt, you don't go to be scared, because when you do it, you're not scared of anything. You're waiting for something to happen, but whilst you're waiting, you're smiling because you can't believe the situation that you're in. I can't sum it up any better, really.
No,
so that's what it feels like.
Right. But everybody, you see, the reason that they have see on every ghost walk that I do, we scare people to death, because we have jumper outers that jump in places, which is, people love it because they're out for 3 hours. But we never ever try and make out that was real.
No,
because they know, even, I mean, we used to do a scare in the old friary. In the cellars, we got them down there, and we used to have a bucket perched on something, and we had a bit of fish wire through a hole in the wall, and we had someone hiding round the back, and he'd pull the wire, and the bucket fell on them. Well, I mean, people screamed, but we never ever made out that was a ghost that did it.
Yeah,
we always told them, that was part of the scare. You know what I mean? Because there's no, but that's the only thing that I'm angry with the TV companies, because they are making people, trying to get people to believe that everything that happens is real, and it isn't. And I know where they're coming from, because I know that's what gets the ratings and the viewers. Because people, we love to be scared.
Yeah, definitely.
We do. There's no doubt about it. But in my opinion, there's time now for a real ghost show. Yeah. That tells you what ghosts are all about. A documentary, for want of a better words, of what ghosts really are. Because people have seen so many ghost programs now. Yeah. The world is fascinated by it, and people want to know more.
Well, I don't think there's anyone else better to present it than yourself, to be honest.
Oh, but you try telling TV. Is it going to be scary?
Yeah.
Well, it might not be, no. Oh, no, well, nobody will watch it then. No. But they would. Yeah. They're wrong.
Well, this is where it goes back to, because obviously you've been doing the ghost tour of Great Britain for X amount of years.
18 years? 15, 18, something like that,
Yeah, and this is what it is. That's exactly what you've just said. It's the history behind these stories.
That's what people love.
Exactly that.
Yeah. And I obviously, I think, well, I know I do. I think I do, anyway. Because, I mean, some of those DVDs are going back a long time now. Yeah. But when I watch them, I think, that's quite... That's because basically it's not back to, there's a pink lady. No. Yeah, if I've looked up a story before, because obviously I do some research before I go to Lancashire to do Ghosts of Lancashire or whatever it happens to be, and I look them up, and I think, if there's two lines, it's a very old castle, but there's a pink lady been seen, on the battlements. End of story. Well, there's no point in trying to tell that.
No.
I've got to go for stuff that's got some meat on the bones.
Yeah.
History behind it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people like is the... Well, everyone always said that to me when I was on Most Haunted. Yeah. We loved the history behind the ghost stories.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe makes the ghost stories more credible. And I think it makes people want to know more and hear more and listen more, because they're fascinated by the history of it.
Yeah. And I know we've alluded to it quite a bit, but how did the Most Haunted gig come around?
Wow, that's an interesting one. I got a letter from Carl and Yvette.
Yeah.
Before Most Haunted came
Yeah.
on the scene. They called it something else.
All right.
Can't remember. And asked if there was a possibility that they could come to Derby Jail. And I presume it was a letter as well. I wrote back, I think, yeah, of course you can, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, I charge you to do it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I never heard any more.
Mm.
So, because it didn't work. Whatever they were calling it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then I got another, I don't know, it was a phone call or an email, I can't remember now, wanting to come and do Derby Jail with a TV programme called Most Haunted.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, of course you can. It's 750 quid if you want to hire it for, you know, for TV. And so they turned up, and I was there, of course. And it's so funny because Yvette came in, and I said, who's she? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's Yvette Fielding. I said, sorry, you know. Yeah. Oh, sure. I said, I'm sorry, I don't know who she is. Sorry. Yeah. And I mean, the same with Derek. God bless him. You know, I said, so who is he? You know,
I was gonna ask you that. What was it like working with Derek?
Oh, tremendous! I'll tell you about it. That's tremendous. But so they came, and I stayed all night. Yeah. Which was most people, if they've let them in for the night. If you know, most of the people that own the building or the house, or they tend to stay. Yeah. We had a meal in the day room there, and I was asked if I'd ask some questions, and the cross moved on the bed, which was really quite something. They were so excited about that, and I thought, God, is that all? Is that as good as it gets? Because it moved about not much, a few centimeters, and they went, and that was the end of it. Wow. Very nice, thank you very much. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Am I going to be on the program? Oh yeah. Well, oh, wonderful, thank you. That's great. And that was it. And about 5 weeks later, I think, so I got a phone call from Yvette saying, would it be all right if Carl and Stuart came back to Derby to see you? Yeah. I said, yeah, of course it would. Yeah, not a problem with that. So they came down to the Heritage Centre, and we went into the tea room and sat and had a cup of tea. And Carl's words to me was, well, as the proprietor of the building and as a witness, because obviously I'd seen a ghost in there, we would normally give you a 2-minute slot on the programme. But he said, I'll be honest with you, Richard, after 20 minutes, we just did not know where to edit it. Would you like a job? Yeah. I said, brilliant. Oh, yes, please. Oh, yes.
What a story.
Yeah, that's basically how it happened. Yeah. But the fascinating bit about it is that they said, we're going to brand you as the country's leading paranormal investigator. I said, oh, thank you. That's great. That'll do. Yeah. But I'm not.
No.
What do you mean? I'm not. I said, I do ghost walks and tours and talks and stuff like that. Yes, I had done some DVDs by then. And of course I'd written Ghost of Derby by then as well. And one or two others, I think, Ghost of Yorkshire and whatever, but one or two. So I said, but yeah, thank you. That's great. So anyway, I turned up. So the first one was going to be Dudley Castle live. Yeah. And I turned up for Dudley Castle with ghost hunting equipment, EMF meter and pair of dowsing rods and dowsing crystal that I use and stuff like that. Because I taught myself to do that. So, but I hadn't done paranormal investigations. Right. But of course, the funny thing was that it never happened because I was wandering around at Dudley, waiting for things to start, bumped into Matthew Smith, Dr. Matthew Smith. You remember he used to do the lives? Yeah. And he said, so what are you wearing tonight? I said, I'm sorry. He said, well, I said, I'm wearing what I've got on. I got a pair of black jeans on and a jacket. I can't remember. Sort of just like a leather jacket sort of thing. And me desert boots and you know. Oh, he said, oh, I'm wearing a suit. Yeah. I said, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, that's all right. So what? And then we get a call for rehearsals, and I said, right, where do you want me? They said, oh no, you're in the marquee, you're in the tent. Yeah. I said, sorry, what? You're an expert. I said, Am I? Oh, okay. I said, I thought I was a paranormal investigator. No, you're an expert. You're a historian. Oh, okay. They've not said it. They haven't told me a
Brilliant.
word.
Yeah.
And so I went in there and I was sat on and so I did meet all the, the live stuff that I did with Matthew. And I think halfway through the show, they got a pretend phone call from this guy called Phil Wyman.
Oh, okay.
Who was supposedly in Nottingham.
Yeah.
And they said, would you, Phil, because he was on, oh God, what was it called? Where they were going through the woods, the programme before Most Haunted. He was on that. Anyway, basically, they said, would you like to come and join us? Hey, I'll get in my car. We was round the back of the tent.
Brilliant.
And he came in and he became the paranormal historian.
Oh, okay.
But from that day till now, nobody has ever explained to me why.
Yeah.
Richard, no, you're not going to be the paranormal historian. You're going to be the historian. No, sorry, Richard, you're not going to be the paranormal investigator. Yeah. You're going to be the historian. I said, yeah, but hang on, this isn't the right word. It's paranormal historian.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Historian alone isn't enough. Yeah. And that's how it happens. Weird.
It's brilliant.
So what? It's great. And I thank them for everything because it's done me the world good. I sell more DVDs, more books. I do more ghost hunts, and people ask me to do more podcasts and talks and night vigils. It's great. Yeah. I thank them so much for what they've done, but I also would like to kick their backsides for not, because basically I ask everybody out there, I say, all of you guys that watch Most Haunted religiously all those years, did any of you actually learn any more about what a ghost was from watching the show? And everyone said no. I said, can you now explain to me the stone tape theory, the third man syndrome, what a poltergeist really is, what a harbinger of death is, and what a banshee? From watching the show, no. But from your own investigation and your own interest, yes, afterwards. But Most Haunted didn't teach anybody anything about what ghosts are, other than they're all demons and they're all going to throw things at you. Which
is quite sad, really, because obviously...
Isn't it a shame?
It is.
But I can't criticise them because look, what a phenomenon they created.
Exactly that. And
we got more viewers than The Simpsons.
It's incredible, isn't it?
In its heyday, Yeah. So, I can't criticise, not really. I'm not going to criticise.
No, definitely not.
It's entertainment.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it might have needed during that time. Obviously, people have always had an interest, but to bring it to the silver screen as such, so people can actually see it, and obviously with yourself, you'll tell the history behind it. You're building a story that people can get so involved in and just enjoy it. And that's what it's all about.
Haven't they just?
Exactly.
And they set the scene.
Yeah.
All the others, the American ones and everything else, they're all... And everybody's running around, all these paranormal, they're all running around playing the Most Haunted.
Yeah. It's incredible. I think the thing is as well is that it is British culture. During what years would it have been? But it is British culture. So many people were... It is. And Most Haunted, that time period was... I think
yeah. You're so right.
Everyone was watching it.
Oh, the world, it's been in about 300 and something countries.
Yeah.
It's gone around the world.
Yeah.
Big in the States on the Discovery Channel and Australia and oh God, yeah.
I think it made it as well as that. Yeah, obviously you had Yvette and Carl who obviously partners. You had Stu who obviously I think related
as a cousin. Yeah.
And then you had, I've alluded to him before, but Derek, who was so eccentric, but you hung on every word he said.
I know you did. And love him or hate him.
Yeah.
Believe in him or don't believe in him, Derek Acorah was the star of Most Haunted.
Yeah, definitely.
He made Most Haunted.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And became the most famous medium in the world.
Definitely.
There's no doubt about that.
No, definitely not. The thing is as well.
He was.
Yeah, He wasn't. I won't say over the top, but he wasn't like he didn't rub it in your face. But you just admired the way he approached it.
Incredible.
He approached it,
and he was an entertainer.
Definitely.
No doubt about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I miss him. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's sadly missed. Sadly
I
missed.
can imagine.
It's
I can imagine. And he was.
It's still as if he's, I mean, because the guy was larger than life.
Yeah, I can imagine.
There's no doubt about that. That's
Yeah.
why that was what, his charisma,
Yeah.
his energy,
Yeah.
was there, and it's as if it's not possible that he can't be around.
No,
He
exactly.
probably is around. He
Yeah.
probably is around.
Yeah. It's absolutely amazing, really. And from that, and the ghosts and most haunted, I'd like to go back to Derbyshire again, if we could, and discuss like how rich Derbyshire is in history. Like I've been listening, I've been doing my research and stuff like that. Like Mary Queen of Scots was living in Derbyshire. The kings and queens of England. It's been literally the middle ground for wars. It's been
yeah, you're right.
It's incredible.
I
It's just
call it
incredible.
the crossroads of history.
Yeah, definitely.
Derby itself, the crossroads. That's the county. Derby, the crossroads of history.
Yeah.
So many people have, because you see where Derby's situated, where Highland meets Lowland.
Yeah.
At the lowest crossing point of the River Trent and its tributary, the Derwent.
Yeah.
It's been a crossing of the ways.
Yeah.
For thousands of years. But since the Romans came 2,000 years ago, everybody's passed through.
Yeah.
Usually going somewhere else. But you know what I mean? And that's why I refer to it. So many famous people have either reached Derby, gone on from Derby, or been sent or been turned back from Derby. Bonnie Prince Charlie got as far as Derby and turned back, gave one look at Derby and said, if that's what the rest of England's like, we'll not bother. And now it's not true. But that sort of thing. Mary Queen of Scots, that was his great grandmother, reached the crossroads at Derby and was executed because of a man from Derby and Derbyshire.
Wow.
Anthony Babington.
Yeah.
The Babington plot.
And
of course, Babington Lane in Derby, where Waterstones is. There was a big house there called Babington Hall, and Mary Queen of Scots spent her last night of captivity in Derbyshire in the house of the man that was responsible for her execution.
It's crazy.
Anthony Babington. He was plotting to murder Queen Elizabeth and put Mary Queen of Scots on the throne because she should have been, the Catholics believed, Queen of England, not Queen Elizabeth. No. Because they were cousins.
Yeah.
But one was Catholic, one was Protestant. It's a belting story, tremendous story. And so she was imprisoned all around Derbyshire in Wingfield Manor, Tutbury Castle just across the border, Sheffield Castle, Buxton, Chatsworth, for 14 years and 2 nights in Derby.
It's crazy. Yeah. Well, weren't you smuggled and had to hide in Derby, if I remember right?
No, she didn't. No, she was always. When we say imprisoned, she was always under house arrest. It's different. You know what I mean? She was watched constantly, but she could go out hunting. Yeah. She could go on a picnic. I don't know whether they did picnic, but you know, she went to Buxton to take the waters in the baths at Buxton. So she wasn't. When I say in prison, she wasn't behind bars.
No. Essentially just 24-hour watch.
Sort of. Yeah. And the reason she was in Derby twice was being taken back from Wingfield Manor to Tutbury Castle. Yeah. And Tutbury Castle back to Wingfield Manor. Wow. And she couldn't, the last time, 1585, her coach came into Derby, and it was January 1585. And the ways were, as it said, foul and deep. And the coach couldn't get all the way to Tutbury Castle in one night. Yeah. So they had to find a place for her to stay. And the best house in Derby, the biggest and best house, the only place fit for a queen, was a place called Babington Hall.
Crazy.
And that was the townhouse of Anthony Babington from Dethick. And he was the bloke plotting to kill Queen Elizabeth and put Mary on the throne. Yeah. And she spent her last night in captivity in his house. He was dead, but they'd captured him already and drawn and quartered him, by the way. But it was still Babington's house. Yeah. The irony of that is incredible, that she spent the last night in the home of the man that was going to be responsible for her beheading 2 years later. Yeah. So she wasn't hidden. She'd never. The plan was for Babington and his conspirators to free her after murdering Queen Elizabeth, and then setting, and then there could have been a possibility that for a period of time she may have been in hiding, but it never happened.
Yeah.
Because the plan was basically Queen Elizabeth had an incredible band of spy catchers and intelligence like MI5 out there, and they were called the Watchers, and they knew everything that was going on. They knew all about the Babington plot. They were watching and waiting. They were all arrested. Yeah, all because there were 4 different plots to free Queen Elizabeth. Wrong. Free Mary Queen of Scots and murder Queen Elizabeth. All were intercepted, and all the plotters were captured, hanged, drawn, and quartered for high treason.
It's
an
amazing.
Incredible story. And her ghost, here's the best bit. This is an interesting bit. Her ghost is supposed to haunt just about every place that she ever stayed.
Yeah, I've listened to your podcast and listening to your stories. Like, it's like you said, people expect ghosts to be in graveyards and things like that, but it's not. It's where their energy was most alive and where they felt and full enjoyment, really, of life.
Now the fascinating thing is that she haunts Wingfield Manor, Tutbury Castle, Chatsworth, Sheffield Manor, Bolton Castle, Carlisle Castle. It's always the ghost of Mary Queen of Scots. Now, there's two things. Reason number one, people always brand the ghost with the most famous person that was there.
Yeah.
Always. So the fact that the Mary Queen of Scots stayed at Carlisle Castle for a time, then if they see a ghost in a Tudor dress, it's Mary Queen of Scots. You see where I'm coming from? If there's a ghost at Chatsworth in a Tudor, it's Mary Queen of Scots. And that's not always. That's what we do.
Yeah.
But she is very prolific in being around. Now I've got a theory behind that, because I don't think it's her spirit. Because the fascinating thing is, the place she was executed, Fotheringay Castle, no reported sightings whatsoever of the ghost of Mary Queen of Scots.
Wow.
Now that's where she should haunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she had a terrible death, because it took the executioner 3 blows to take her head off. So she should haunt there. But she doesn't. But she haunts all these other places where she didn't die.
No.
But the reason that this is my theory, right? All back to energy. I'd like to change the name from ghost to energy.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. We are energy.
Yeah.
But any scientist will tell you the first law of thermodynamics: you can neither create or destroy energy. So that is you, that energy which is you, has to go on somehow. Your personality, your mind, your consciousness, your ego, whatever you want to call it, that's within cannot be destroyed. No. So it has to go on. So we are nothing but energy. Now, to be somebody like Mary Queen of Scots, who is world famous, that's the only word to describe, world famous, right? Then she had to have more energy than most people, more charisma. People were prepared to die for her.
But she did.
And did die for her, big time. Right? So she'd got something special. She got an energy second to none. She's the sort. Now, when you meet someone like that, your words often afterwards are, "Do you know, she made a real impression on me."
Yeah. The room.
Now, does that mean that she also made a real impression on the surroundings where she was? The building, the fabric of the building, the stonework, the brickwork, the silica, the iron oxide, the energy of her could have left some residual energy behind in the building, and that's what people are seeing, I think, but I ain't sure. It's possible, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Of course
it's a reality side of the ghost business.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what I think. So famous people perhaps leave a bit of themselves behind, their energy, recording, I think, basically, of themselves in that building. Hence, people see them.
Yeah.
I think.
Going back to the start, then, I'd like to discuss, I think this is your when you actually saw a ghost at Derby Jail.
Oh God, Derby Jail, yeah. Well, don't forget, I've been frightened of ghosts all my life, so I was very lucky, very lucky, really, not to not to see anything. And it was 20 past 3 on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah,
broad daylight. Yeah. And all I'd done was nipped into the jail on Friday afternoon to take the takings out the till from the night before, because there'd been a ghost walk the night before that I hadn't done. So I hadn't even put the lights on in the jail, only in the kitchen area. And the phone went, and it was a guy from Derby City Council who luckily I knew, because we do this Bonnie Prince Charlie parade every year. Because I raised 100,000 quid for the statue of Bonnie. Surprised nobody's pulled it down yet. He didn't have any slaves, as far as I know. But anyway, so this guy, Darren Best, who worked for Derby City Council, used to dress up as Bonnie Prince Charlie for the parade every year. And so I was chatting to him about how the parade was going to go when this grey, hazy shape of a person glided down the corridor past me. Yeah. And I mean, I must have said this 30,000 times. It was distinctly grey. Yeah. It was so grey. It wasn't male. It wasn't female. It wasn't clothed. Yeah. It really genuinely looked like what a ghost should look like. It looked as if someone had got a sheet over their head. Yeah. It was that shape, but it wasn't a sheet. It was a grey haze. Yeah. But I couldn't see through it. It was dense. But not only did I see it, but I sensed it. So 2 of the sensors came in there. I saw it and I sensed it. And I didn't catch it out the corner of my eye. I was stood on the phone, full on, watching it as it glided past this cut-out window where the kitchen was. Yeah. And it must have been at least 4 seconds that I was watching it. And I said, Darren, I've just seen a ghost. He said, "That's daft." I said, "I'm not kidding, mate. I'm telling you, I've just seen a ghost." I said, "Just a minute, wait, hang on." And I did what everybody does, we're not open, someone's come in. They may have been rather strange looking person, but so I put the phone down, stuck my head round front of the counter, expecting to see it in the corridor of the jail. Yeah, nobody there, and the door, the other door was locked. Yeah, and then the hair on the back of my neck stood up, literally, because I thought, Christ, I really have just seen a ghost. And I went back on the phone and I said, "I hope you don't mind, mate, but I might stay on the phone a bit longer than we'd anticipated." He says, "I'm sorry, Richard." I said, "I'll bloody explain it, mate. When I put this phone down, I'm on my own and I've just seen a ghost." And we chatted for a little while and I felt a bit of a wuss after a time. And I said, "Well, I'm going to have to go now." He said, "Well, I have got some work to do, Richard, but I don't know about that. Derby City Council on a Friday afternoon. I'm not sure about that bit." And so I put the phone down, and then I panicked because I'd got to go out of the corridor. Up the corridor, I've just seen a ghost. By the way, that's it. It's over. Yeah. I've never seen it again. Never, ever seen it again. Just once. Now, here we go again. Was it something to do with me being on the phone? Yeah. Did the phone alter the frequencies in my brain? Yeah. That made me see something? I don't know. That's something that there's a possibility, because phones. This was a proper phone, by the BT phone, not a mobile. Yeah. But that we know for a fact that phones do mess our brains up, don't they? And so I just wonder again if that's why I saw it then. Yeah. I don't know. Incredible. It's just a part of my theory, that it could have been that. But that's the only time. It's the only thing I've ever seen. That's the only ghost I've ever seen. Right. But guess what? It didn't get me. No. No. It didn't come and get me, or no, it just went past. Yeah. I don't think he knew I was there. Yeah, it's that's amazing. Very bothered that I was there. No, just going about different routine. Different frequency, different time zone, different level, different. I don't know, something. But there's absolutely, and I've spent the last, because it must be 15 years since I saw it, I think, and I've tried so hard to disprove it. Yeah. To give a rational explanation. I can't. No. I've only got one explanation for everybody. I saw a ghost in Derby Jail at 20 past 3 on a Friday afternoon. That's brilliant. Well, I think that leads us on perfectly to what this podcast's all about, really. Obviously, the title of the podcast is Ash, Our Ghost Real. So I'm going to put this to you, Richard. Our Ghost Real. Our Ghost Real. Yes. whatever ghosts are, they're real.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Whatever ghosts are.
Honestly, Richard, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, Ash. I've enjoyed it, mate. It's been fantastic.
Honestly, I can't thank you enough for joining us, and I'd love to do it again. I'd love to do an episode on Derbyshire. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, let's do some more. Yeah, but honestly, only 2, please. Especially while lockdowns are on and everybody's looking for something to do. I'm more than happy, mate.
Keep us busy. Honestly, I can't thank you enough. Yeah. So thanks for listening, everyone. It's been a very, very special episode. Something that I never thought would happen, but it's meant a lot, Richard. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.